Fast Company's David McKay aboard his Kawasaki ZX6R has already won 2 of the 4 races so far in the 2022 Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike Championship. However, he still trails LDS Consultants Trevor Dion by 15 points due to his unfortunate crash in race 1 at Grand Bend. Heading into round 3 at Atlantic Motorsport Park, can McKay reduce the deficit? And welcome to round 3 of the 2022 Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike National Championships here at Atlantic Motorsport Park in Nova Scotia. Elliot Vieira is coming off his first pro win in round 2, and he'll be looking for more here at Shuby. As Pro Cycle presents the Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike Championships, brought to you in part by Importation Thibault, Joe Rocket, and Kawasaki. Here we are in Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia. Great to be back, and great to have you alongside as well, Michael.
Yeah, it's great to be racing at Shubenacadie, and our starting grid for the 600 sport bike class is Trevor Dion, David McKay, Jake Leclerc, Connor Campbell, and Matthew Simpson. Unfortunately, Connor Campbell injured himself on Saturday, and our best wishes are going out to him in a speedy recovery. And also, we have Elliot Vieira, remarkably on the 3rd row. He's fighting for the championship, not the best starting spot. Louis Rafa and also Brad McKay injured himself at Saturday morning practice and won't be able to make the start.
Yeah, so a couple of riders missing from our grid today. But let's take a moment and go down and check with our Dunlop pit reporter, Hannah Streak.
Thanks, guys. Starting 3rd in the Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike race is Yamaha Blue Crew rider Jake Leclerc. Jake has had a difficult start to the season, but he's managed to put it together here at Atlantic Motorsport Park with some consistently strong qualifying laps. Now, I talked to Jake before the race, and he said his goal is to get on the podium. Back to you.
Thanks, Hannah. And here we are on the starting grid as Fred Benjamin moves himself off. We will now have a look at the Bickle Racing starting lights. 3 lights on, 4 lights on, 5 lights on, 6 lights on. We wait for them to go off to launch this race, and we are away and running. It looked like Trevor Dion got a very good launch there. Oh no, it's Jake Leclerc. Jake Leclerc has taken the race lead right off the bat, and isn't that timely? Right after Hannah's talk about a big pass there early in this race as Dion has taken over the point and shunted Jake Leclerc back into 2nd spot. It looks like McKay's holding on to 3rd. Mike?
Dion took away the inside line there going into 2, which is a popular place to pass here at Shuby.
Up and over turn number 4. Now they dive down. There's a little bit of a dive down there. You're well aware of that, Michael. Downhill we go into turn number 4, and now onto the roller coaster, the back straightaway.
The famous roller coaster. That's what this track is known for. It's a very tight and twisty track. Let's go back for a replay of the start, and you can see Dion going through corner 1. He ends up a little bit wide, hits some bumps, and I think that actually set him up to take the inside line into 2.
Oh yeah, absolutely right, Mike. It's Dion. Oh, you see that? He hit that. Yeah, exactly. He hit that bump, both wheels off the ground, and made it work. Oh, looks like he's getting some distance now, and I don't think McKay's going to like that.
He's stretching out a bit of a lead, and here we have the view from Jake Leclerc with David McKay in hot pursuit.
I think that's Elliot Vieira. Yeah, it is Elliot Vieira running back in 4th spot in chase, and Matt Simpson on the 91 bike. Both of those bikes are white, so we don't want to get those guys mixed up. Louis Rafa on the Honda holding on the 6th spot now as we watch Dion making his way up into the carousel.
Not a huge shocker to see Dion out in front stretching the lead a little bit. He had a very quick pace in practice and qualifying. And you have Vieira, who now is running in 4th, and this is a very critical race for him because he's 2nd in the championship points and needs a good finish here if he wants a chance to win it at the end of the season.
Absolutely. Now, he did gather up a bunch of points, of course, with his win at Calabogie Motorsport Park, and that was delightful. I think it finally showed that Vieira is a race winner.
Yes, Dion, you know, he was able to do the regional the weekend before this event to get some important laps. And Shubenacadie is a notorious difficult track to learn.
Yes.
It's a very tough track. When you make errors, it can be very dangerous, and you pay the price for them. So getting some laps in early was very good for him.
Yeah, it could make a big difference. It is not entirely uncommon. I remember through the years, quite often riders would come down and run the regional the weekend before the national, and the reason is, of course, to try to learn this track and make it work for them. Holding on to second is still it's Jake Leclerc, with David McKay right in behind him.
He's very confident on the motorcycle, and he hasn't been a player up to this point in the championship, but it's not a big surprise, because throughout his career coming up through the ranks, he's been able to run up front in the various classes that he's been in, and you know, we've been expecting him to start running further up front throughout the season. So good for him and his team.
Yeah, Leclerc's one of the riders. Tommy Casas was the other one that, through the Blue Crew effort of Yamaha, was able to go over to Italy and meet up with Valentino Rossi. So we have two riders who've come from Canada who've gone into that, and I don't doubt that he picked up a lot over there.
Yes, and you know, his brother is also a very accomplished rider. Here we can see the view from Dave McKay's bike following. So they're coming through corner 1, and then you can see there's a newly paved section here from corner 2 to corner 3, and you can see that the pavement is starting to come up, and it makes it very difficult for the riders to find traction and get a good drive.
And we'll be right back here on TSN. Closed captioning of the Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike Championships is brought to you in part by GODERICH Toyota, Dunlop, MotorcycleCourse.com, and AIM Insurance. We're back at Atlantic Motorsport Park, Nova Scotia, and we are watching lap 5 of an 18-lap National Championship Sport Bike race. And guess what? David McKay is putting big pressure now on Leclerc.
Yeah, he's hot in pursuit, and going through that corner 1 section is a good spot to look at the different riding styles. We have two very distinct styles. Leclerc tends to hang off the bike a bit more, kind of more Marquez MotoGP style. David McKay, not quite as much. Both of them are making it work for them because they're both doing the same, you know, pretty much the same lap times.
There are times, Michael, when I swear that Leclerc is going to fall off that motorcycle. He leans so far off, and look at him. He's got his knee, his elbow out, and I'm sure that he touches that elbow. Look at there, a perfect example of it. He has an elbow just skirting off the top of the asphalt there. Great stuff. Going a little bit wide, coming through the carousel, but there's nothing to be had there by McKay. McKay has got to close this distance up if he hopes to challenge.
He does. He doesn't want to let him lose touch. We're on lap 5 of 18. He wants to make sure he can keep within striking distance, at least to make a move before the end of the race.
Yeah, and meanwhile, both of them would like to catch sight of Trevor Dion, who is not being caught on camera thus far. He's got a very good lead, had an excellent start, and has left it up to Leclerc and McKay to chase him down.
McKay has a lot more to worry about in this race than Leclerc. You know, he's in the points. He's thinking about the championship, so that's probably weighing into it as well for him. Yeah, Leclerc is all in.
This has not been a particularly good year for Jake Leclerc, I should say, and he's not in contention for the championship, but right now he is riding like a champion, that's for sure.
Jake is running a great race. He's starting to pull a gap to McKay, and Leclerc was the lightweight championship a couple of years ago, and you know, this is a new game for him. These bikes have 120 horsepower, 600cc machine, heavier, a lot more to manage, and he's making headway. He's sort of coming into his own here in this race, running in second, and it's a strong second. Well,
he's dealing with 80 more horsepower than he has in the past, and he's doing a great job of it. And guess what, Mikey? He's starting to get some distance now on McKay. Look at this.
Yeah, he's definitely pulling away.
Down into turn number 1 he goes. And again, with that elbow out, just about touching the ground, climbs up through turn number 2, through 3, and across that rolling hillside.
Looking at the running order, we have Vieira back and forth, but he's so far back we can't even see him. which is not, you know, does not bode well for him in the championship points.
Dion with a large lead, so the race within the race seems to have evaporated a little bit here because we had Jake Leclerc duking it out with David McKay. But I wonder if McKay has backed it off. I don't know why he would do that, except to give Leclerc a false sense of entitlement, if you will.
Or perhaps he's struggling to keep the pace and realize that, you know, we also have another race to do tomorrow.
Good point.
He may be thinking about the points, thinking about third. You know, he's still on the podium here. He's going to collect some valuable points. It would not be a bad finish.
Well, McKay's a smart guy. He realizes the situation. He knows full well what's gone on here then. Somebody, oh no, not Vieira. Oh, jeepers.
The bad luck for Vieira seems to be continuing.
Just continues.
That's really unfortunate.
Man, I thought things had changed for him when he posted his first win at Calabogie Motorsport Park, but
hopefully not a motor issue, because that would be difficult to. Sounds like it doesn't want to run. Perhaps a fuel pump or an electrical issue. Hopefully nothing serious.
Well, we'll find out what happened to Vieira when we come back here on TSN. We are back at Atlantic Motorsport Park, and we are working lap 10 of 18. When last seen, Elliot Vieira was having trouble with his motorcycle, and apparently our Dunlop pit reporter Hannah Streak has more on that.
Thanks, guys. Elliot Vieira just came in quick to the pits. I talked to his crew chief, who said he is experiencing some electronic issues. However, he was able to head out back on the track. He's going to try and accumulate as many points as possible before the end of the race. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Hannah. Great job. And we're watching the number 82 of David McKay as he now is on the back straight, and he's having a rather lonely ride just now, Michael.
Yes, and David McKay has made a step this year. He's the only person in the field here who's won 2 races, and if it wasn't for his crash at Grand Bend, he would be leading this championship with a pretty good lead.
Well, he always seems to come home in second or third. You know, we've seen him on a number of podiums, but this was his breakthrough year, especially winning down on the West Coast at Grand Bend Motorplex. And he's riding the Fast Company machine that is built by Scott Miller.
And Andrew Westbrook does the suspension. They do a great job. And of course, he has his father, who's his crew chief, and
Glenn,
they run a great team.
Here they are coming over that hill. You know, no matter how many times I come down to this place, every time they come up and over that hill, it scares the living bleep out of me. And I think that's Louis Rafa right now, who is having a go at Matt Simpson. Simpson has also improved his game enormously this year, and we've seen that from Connor Campbell as well. And it's unfortunately got taken out with a crash on Saturday morning, but he and Matt Simpson, Connor Campbell and Matt Simpson, both coming up through the lightweight ranks, as has Jake Leclerc.
Correct, yes. And this is the battle for 4th that we're watching here. And it would be a good result for either of them. You know, this racetrack is a very physically demanding racetrack. And, you know, we're on lap 12 of 18. Mm-hmm. Sometimes being in a battle like this makes it easier to get through the race. Shubenacadie Atlantic Motorsport Park is almost like a mini endurance race. It's so physically demanding. You know, those middle laps can be terrible if you're by yourself.
What a great matchup we have here with Matt Simpson and Louis Rafa. Louis's been around this game for decades, and he's right in behind Simpson right now. He pulls out to make a pass as they head down to turn number 1. Simpson will have nothing of that, and he leaves his braking late to hold position over the wily veterans. A young gun going against a veteran. I love this kind of action, Michael.
Absolutely. It's fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, indeed. And you know, Louis Rafa, as I said, has been at this game for quite some time. He has steadfastly been a Honda rider, and the only Honda rider in the Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike class, and giving the Big H, the Honda company, great exposure through this national championship series.
We mentioned Scott Miller earlier. He also prepares Louis Rafa's motors, has done so for many, many years.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. And Rafa, he and his wife Annie have a very, very professional pit setup, right? The motorcycles are immaculate and very, very well prepared. And of course, Louis does his absolute best out there.
Very well presented, great pit presence. And this trip out east, Annie wasn't able to make it. She had to stay home with the family, which
Oh, no, we've had a crash. It's Dion. Dion has gone down. Trevor Dion, he had a gigantic lead, and it has all been tossed away as he has put that motorcycle on its side. Obviously, he's up and okay, and the motorcycle is running, but that's a huge dent now as Dion has slipped back into third spot, and Leclerc has inherited the lead. Wow, what a change.
What a critical error for Dion. He was out there in front all by himself, and he got very lucky that the crash is just a small tip over. Here we're going to see he's coming down through corner 1. He's preparing to brake for corner 2. He's starting to tip it in, and
everything looks good.
Watch the front just lets go.
Wow.
Little too much brake pressure, and just lost the front.
So he's trail braking in and just got a little bit too much gription on the pads.
Exactly, Frank.
Yeah.
And he was out on that rough pavement that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So that might have induced a bit of a front end slide, and then just let go. But he's running in third, and he's very lucky. Like that's a get out of jail free card for him, because he's in the championship, and he's still running in third.
And as we watch Jake Leclerc leading this national championship race, we remind you we're on TSN, and we will be right back. Welcome back to Shuby as Pro Cycle presents the 2022 Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike Championships. Brought to you in part by Importation Thibault, Joe Rocket, and Kawasaki. We are back at Atlantic Motorsport Park, and we're going for a ride with Jake Leclerc, our new leader in the Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike race here, Michael, and this kid is having a ride.
We just got a few laps to go, and we may yet have another new winner in this class this season.
Don't give him the announcer's curse. What'd you go ahead and say that for?
I'm sorry, Frank. I'm new at this. I'm learning.
It's happened to me before where I've tried to call a winner, but and there is Dion. He has obviously gotten back up, remounted. I can't help but wonder the condition of that motorcycle. He can't have confidence in it.
No, he looks a little cautious, and that's normal. You know, you pick the bike up just after it crashes. You're wondering, is it leaking any fluids? You know, was the crash caused by some problem with the motorcycle? But he's running a third. He's got the plan to nurse it home and get the points.
And leave us not forget about David McKay as well. Let's check in with our pit reporter, Hannah Streak.
Thanks, guys. Fast Company Kawasaki's David McKay is currently second in this race and third in the championship point standings. I talked to David before the race about the pressure he's feeling with his DNF in Grand Bend, and he said he's trying to find a balance between accumulating as many points as possible and trying to win the race outright. Now, he said that it's Trevor Dion's championship to lose, but with Trevor down, you can bet that David's going to try to capitalize. Back to you.
Here we are on board with David McKay right now, coming out of turn number 8 and heading up into turn number 9. You can see that suspension working, Mikey.
Every time I see the suspension graphics, it's shocking. You know, my data guys, when I'm racing, we come here and they're always in shock at how much it moves. It's crazy. This place is nuts.
Well, McKay taking a calculated approach to this. He's being very careful. Of course, down at Grand Bend Motorplex, of course, he ended up on his backside at trackside, and he realizes full well it's no fun to leave the racetrack with 0.
He did, and at this point, where we have 2 laps left, he's about 6 seconds behind. It's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for him to catch Leclerc. So, I think he's going to ride accordingly and bring it home in second.
Meanwhile, Dion fighting the brave fight, and he likewise probably the same approach. I think, Mike, as you just commented on McKay, I think Dion has the same game plan in mind. Let's gather up some points, gather up whatever prize money is available, and get the heck out of here. Simpson running in 4th spot still. Rafa in 5th, and Vieira has not been able to solve that problem of Rafa as he fights back from whatever his problems were.
We see Vieira running in 6th. It's a good thing that he got the motorcycle going back again. The Snow City cycle team will be pleased at least that the motorcycle's still circulating.
On board once more on the LDS Consultants Kawasaki, the number 20 being ridden by Trevor Dion, who scored that magnificent win to start the season off. And all the attrition that we've seen has allowed Dion to still work his way up and maintain a podium position.
He got very lucky that motorcycle was still was still functioning after the crash.
And unfortunately, Simpson has been unable to close on him. But now, Michael, now we get into the final lap of this 18-lap national championship race. And it looks like Leclerc has a stranglehold on this one. Let's hope that he's very careful, bring that thing home upright for the Blue Crew.
He's got to bring it home for his first win. Be a very exciting evening in the pits.
Well, we're not counting any wins until he actually sees that checkered flag. And
that last lap can be very difficult, Frank.
Yeah.
Every little noise coming from the motorcycle, you're thinking, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
Did my crew put enough fuel? It's very stressful.
I'll wager. I will wager. Now, in through the carousel, the final trip around this race course into corner number 9, and then number 10 will end it. Of course, that is Canfield Corner, brings them up onto the front straightaway. Quite a climb out of the valley there, up onto the flat lands of the front straightaway. The checkered flag is out, and Jake Leclerc has scored his first national championship win. And what was that with the handlebars at the top of turn 1?
I'm not sure what that was, but he looks pretty excited. He's looking around to all the fans around the track, and it's his first win. There's no better feeling than that. I'll tell you. That long drive home from Nova Scotia feels a lot better with a trophy in the backseat.
It looks good on him. He has such great potential, and he has just not had a chance to display it here in the Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike class. But today, his dream has come true. He has captured a national championship win, and you know what it's like, Mike. It's going to breed that inner fire, and he's going to carry that into the next round.
Yeah, here's the resume of our final standings. We have Jake Leclerc with the win, David McKay, Trevor Dion in 3rd, Matthew Simpson in 4th, Louis Rafa in 5th, and Elliot Vieira brings it home 6th.
Folks, I am here with Jake Leclerc, who has just won his first national pro sport bike win. Jake, how does it feel?
Oh, it feels pretty great. After a terrible start to the season, this definitely feels good. I'll tell you that. It feels really good. And look for more tomorrow. Hopefully the same thing.
Good stuff. And I'm sure that you have some people to thank that have helped you get this win today.
Yeah, I'd like to just give a big thanks to Yamaha Canada, Rider's Choice, EBC Brakes, Gen 7 Fuels, Hindle Exhaust. I know I'm forgetting a bunch, but just thank you to everyone, especially my dad and my brother, for coming with me this weekend, and my mom back home. Thank you.
Good stuff. Amazing race, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Trevor, walk us through what happened out there today.
I knew we had probably about a 4-second lead, so I started tapering down the pace a little bit, and going into 2, I can't remember which lap, but going into the bottom of 2, I was on the brakes, and I wasn't on the brakes any harder than I normally was throughout the race. The bike was overheating. I don't know whether we spit out some water onto the front tire or what happened, but once we went down, I grabbed the bike, picked it up as quick as I could, and I knew those guys were going to be ahead and I wasn't going to be able to catch up. So I let them go, and I knew I had a gap behind me, so I just sat behind comfortably to collect the points safely.
And we have Trevor Dion leading our championship. David McKay is up now in 2nd place. Elliot Vieira, with his misfortunes, he dropped to 25 points behind. Louis Rafa, Connor Campbell, Jake Leclerc, Matt Simpson, and Brad McRae.
And so for the 4th time this year, we have a first-time winner here in the 2022 Liqui Moly Pro Sport Bike Championship. Now, on behalf of the entire CSBK staff, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.